Climate change is as central to the left's ideology today as open borders, and it's what they say is to blame for the massive and deadly fires we've seen here in California. They're also blaming President Trump's attitude to climate change for making things worse. My next guest has written some of the smartest commentary I've seen on this issue. Former Republican member of the California State Assembly and now Vice President of the Texas Public Policy Foundation, Chuck Devore, joins me. Chuck, I've really appreciated what you've said here. Could you just the President Trump was criticized for blaming it all on forest management, and the left said, no, it's climate change. Can you just tell the story as you see it?
Well, twice the president has tweeted about the fires, the very tragic and unfortunate fires in California, once over the summer and once about a week ago. And immediately the pushback was severe. You had Governor Jerry Brown, you had incoming governor, now Lieutenant Governor Gavin Newsom, you had Hollywood saying, this guy is terrible, the president is horrible, it's about climate change. Well, let me explain something to your viewers. The president is right. And the evidence for it are two bills that the California legislature passed that now do exactly what the president was critical of California for not doing, which is clearing brush, doing prescribed burns, getting ahead of the fuel load, and trying to streamline some of the bureaucracy. Steve, the administrative state in California has been so cumbersome that when fire marshals see the need to burn to reduce the fuel load, they have to contend with air quality management districts. They have to contend with these 100 or 200-page environmental plans. And sometimes the burn doesn't take place at all. Sometimes the permission comes through after a terrible wildfire.
Yeah. And so, by the way, just for our audience, they remember, I pushed back on the timing of what the president said, not the substance. I did think he could have shown a bit of sympathy up front, but the substance is what matters. There's a really interesting story, a real practical example of what you're saying. Someone told me about a specific case where on their land, on farmland, they were asked by the local fire service to clear away brush because it was a fire risk. And that was reported by a neighbor. And then the California State Fish and Wildlife Service told them they couldn't clear the brush because of habitat loss. That's a real typical example of the mess, isn't it?
Well, it is. And the sad thing is these two bills that passed, one dedicates $200 million a year beginning next year for 5 years, $1 billion, to begin to clear brush and thin trees. The other streamlines things like the environmental permitting process. I think it's too little too late. I think what's really going to happen in California is you're seeing the left call for a very expensive rural fire tax. They want to drive people off of what they call the wildland-urban interface, and they want to push people into the big cities. They want to make it very expensive. Now, Steve, people are losing their fire insurance. If you can't get fire insurance, you can't buy a house on a mortgage. This land is just about ready to become worthless because of government inaction. Now, you also have the federal issue, which, of course, the president and his administration are working to solve by increasing the timber harvest, as well as in California with both forest management and the management of the coastal chaparral. Both are problems.
Well, I really appreciate you being so specific and helpful. I encourage everyone to read what you've written. Thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Thank you.